All on the table. You know what to do.
All right, welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen out there. Welcome to episode 16. What is 16?
16.
Yeah, oh sweet 16.
We're getting there.
Ooh-wee.
We're getting there.
Ooh-wee. So
It's actually gone quite quick.
it has actually. I mean, what we've been at it like 4 months. 4 months now. Yeah.
Should be about 20 odd episodes, but
Wow. You are counting.
I am.
Yeah, I'm not.
I am.
I'm not.
It's all banked up in here.
Yeah. So today we've got a special guest on, Katelin from You Go Bro, You Go Girl. Thank you for coming up.
My
Thank you.
absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to come and hang out with us.
Oh, we're gonna have some fun. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. And so where do you hail from? Tell us a little bit about yourself before we sort of get into the nitty gritty.
Well, I do absolutely love being asked this question because it's such a unique journey that I've been on.
Sorry. Can we use the word quest? We'll just replace the word journey and we'll say the word quest, okay? Because it sounds way more fun than journey. Journey's a bit
I can't believe I let that slip. I'm usually quick to pick that
You
up.
are,
I'm the guy that always goes quest.
You didn't act quick enough, so I was like, I'm
No,
gonna
because
jump
I
right on
thought
that.
Lara was nearly home.
Yeah,
So I got distracted.
Okay. No, sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You guys go for whatever floats your boat. But I definitely have had an amazing experience of being able to be the founder of You Go Bro and You Go Girlfriend. Now, for those that don't actually know, they have their own department around helping women around being able to connect with their sexual confidence as well as their pleasure with periods and having the understanding of knowing their menstrual cycle and knowing how important it is, because I know that's not just a menstrual cycle, it's also women that go into their menopause phase as well. And just knowing that it's such an important education lens for people to know, because we can't control that as women. It's a part of us, and it's important that we actually have those conversations. And then also just allowing women to remove the shame of who they are and just really embody that feminine energy, because there's a lot of women out there that are in their masculine and they don't actually realize, which then leads to them emasculating men and disrespecting their bodies and not feeling that they feel good about themselves. So the female side of things was really invigorating, but one of the things I found even more invigorating was because I was so open, transparent around sexuality and open the conversations around mental health. I actually had a lot of men reach out to me and say, Katelin, what you're doing is so important, not just for women. And we would be curious whether you would make something for men and a platform for men to go to. And I thought, hang on a second, like I'm a woman, like surely I don't know if that's going to land. And the imposter syndrome came in and thinking, I couldn't do it. And I actually had a bank of men going, no, Katelin, really, you actually can be someone who's really quite powerful in this space. So that's when I started You Go Bro. And I knew that just starting the conversations around mental health, which you guys do so well on here as well, and being transparent and open about those conversations, but then also how sexual energy is so important for men as well, that they get so put down about just opening up and knowing that it's okay to feel turned on, to feel that sense of sexual charge. It lights up your purpose. It lights up who you are. So there was so much that I found really fascinating, that men felt safe to open up with me because they knew that there was a space that it wasn't just a, let's just talk about my feelings kind of therapy session. It was, you actually felt supported, but then I challenged your notion of going, okay, let's actually think about what your next steps are, because a lot of people can tell you what you're feeling and how it feels, but what actually you do for the next step is so important for men because they need that motion in action. Okay, what do I need to focus on? Because men really appreciate that sense of freedom and knowing that their purpose is coming to life. So I was obviously in the teaching background and, going between primary and high school, and a lot of the development that I learnt from children and teenagers, that there is so much still behaviors that are happening as adults that are just sort of hidden and suppressed. So the child psychology really took me on a journey to learn the depths of it, but I knew how with sex education, which we all had in schools, was terrible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I knew what was in the curriculum. So I challenged my principal and I challenged the system, and they just kept saying, no. And they were telling me to be quiet and to remove what I was doing. So I thought, no, I'm going to go out, resign from teaching and do this on my own. So this is where I just started talking on social media, the voice of, power, and just owning my vulnerability on that. And it just spread from there. And this quest has taken me on so many different pathways, but I still feel like I'm at the beginning because there's so much still to evolve in. So I'm very excited to see where it goes and this conversation as well.
Yeah.
Already. Do you find that a lot of the men, I find for myself, my psychologist is female, and I find it a lot easier to talk, I guess, to a female about those kind of intimacy and vulnerability. Is that a common thing that you're finding out now with the men that you're helping with? I don't know. What am I trying to say?
Oh, I get what you mean. There's definitely,
I guess, like a feminine side to a man.
Yeah. I think I have a mate who is in that industry, and he said, Katelin, it is so hard to get men to come and do intimacy with me. He goes, I get a lot of women traffic, and he's like, that's why you are attracting men, because women desire that sort of connection, and if the man has got that, they learn so much from it. Where if a woman opens up that safety for a man to feel like that there's no shame and no guilt around opening up about it, because I know how much it means to men to feel intimate and connection and to explore that sexuality without actually feeling like it's not okay or that it's a punishment or that, you need sort of treading on eggshells to be like, can I get some action or can I not? Like, it's this constant battle that, you try and overcome. But I know that there's that space that as a female I can nurture and allow men to really open up without judgment, because I really got nothing to hold back from, around that space. And there's nothing that I need to judge upon because I'm so open to exploring and having the conversation about
That's right.
it.
And part of the problem that we face as society today is that we all feel like we're being judged by everybody, but really in the reality of it is no one's judging anybody. Like, everyone's so busy. We don't have time to worry about, like, you might look at somebody and judge them in passing, but 30 seconds later, you've totally forgotten about that person, but here they are feeling like everybody's judging them all the time. So, yeah. Do you kind of feel like men don't like to talk to other men about that sort of stuff because they kind of feel like, it's not so much like demasculating yourself, but it's more like they're scared of like, it feels a bit homo, like it feels a bit gay to be talking with another man about this sort of stuff. Like, do you kind of get that with men? Like, do men sort of say that sort of thing? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I don't care. Like, I'm pretty open. I'll talk to anybody about anything, right? But do you feel like some of your clients are like that, and that's why they come to a female? Like,
Yeah, I think that there's, it's kind of like when boys were at school, they were sort of in that competitiveness of like talking about how sex was with their partner. And it was always like this, how good it was, how fast it was, how, the intensity of it. They wanted to sort of champion the outcome rather than actually saying, I actually really appreciate a long hug or a long kiss from my partner. And, if you said that, even on movies, it's presented that, you see the boys just break out laughing and they go, oh, what are you talking about, mate? Come on, like rub some dirt in it. It's fine. And this colloquialism is just allowing men to feel like that they can't actually talk about things that we generally want to feel, and we want to have that same companionship. And we feel like slowing down and softening is weak, but it is the most intense, pleasurable experience that you actually get to have with your partner. So these conversations with men, they are just so focused on the jackhammer experience and focusing on that it has to be this accelerated experience and how many times and, whatever it is. And, how many times does she get the outcome of orgasming? And it's such a competitive nature between the conversations of men, rather than just saying, I actually had an incredible experience with my partner last night and we made so much love and we really cared about each other. And that actually needs to be the champion conversation, because that's what we're modeling to men and saying, you know what, this is more important and this is what I appreciate than having to be like, I'm performing, because when we perform, we don't actually feel and connect in the experience as well. So the conversations between men, yes, there is still some work that needs to be happened about it, but it comes down to you and just trusting that, you know what, I can either say something or I can just honor my relationship that I have with my partner. And obviously it'd be great for more men to just openly share how important it is. And there's always going to be one person that changes the conversation. And that's why it's so important for someone to just take that lead and go, you know what, I'm going to change this, because we're in an era now where change is actually so important for us as well.
So many times where I hear men go, oh, it's always good, it's never bad. And I'll just chuck in there sometimes, mate, sometimes I don't perform. Sometimes I put in a shocker, and it's true. Not everyone has 100% strike rate, and I just, even if I haven't had a bad one for a while, I'll still throw it out there, like you said, just to change it for the fun of it. I think it's a real thing in society. It's not always going to be your top dog. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, man.
Oh, yeah, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
See, already, there's a little bit of competitiveness already. So this is how classic it goes.
No, I've been with my partner 21 years, so we've got a pretty good relationship, and it's pretty healthy. So, and we've got really good open lines of communication. So, and that's always been an ethos of our relationship, is that we always talk about things. So, I can't say it's always been great. There's obviously been times where, her sex drive might have been higher than mine, and mine's been higher than hers, and sometimes it might feel like a chore or whatever, but there's always this level of understanding that it's a really important part of the relationship. And so,
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. So even in that conversation, when we went from the yarn to you just fully opening up, that's the power of the conversation as well. And just knowing that it's backed up with that sense of, beautiful connection. And it also honors your partner in that as well, of the way that you're talking about her. And I think a lot of people don't realize how they talk about their partner behind the scenes is actually showing a cover up of what they actually really desire and deep down actually want. So they actually need to communicate to their partner what they actually want and what they need. So, for example, some people, when they come to so there's these things called pleasure archetypes, where there's 5 of them. So each archetype is a way that you feel pleasure more than anything else. So ultimately, we've got energetic, we've got sensual, we've got sexual, kinky, and shapeshifter. Now, when we first were born, we were all shapeshifters. And what happens is, over time, our environment, conversations, our religion, politics, they have steered us into one of these pleasure archetypes. And that's how we actually receive pleasure more prominent. But what we need to do is work on trying to get back to the shapeshifter, where we can actually explore all of them. So, for example, if the man is, really into his sort of kinky side, and he feels like he wants to explore things, but his partner's not there, then he's going to feel like he's suppressing his sexual energy and urgency of wanting to actually try things because he's so afraid to actually ask her. So then when he's talking to mates, he puts this like alpha male conversation around, I get this, I do this, because it's a fuel for what he actually wants, rather than actually having a conversation. Well, how can kinky not be so stereotypical? How could it be that, we involve a feather so that she enjoys the pleasure of it still being connected to her slowness, while he still was able to involve a instrument into the play as well. So it doesn't have to be so taboo of what it's showed out in there in the world, but it's about what's actually stemming from our archetypes and how we can actually feel that. Some people are sensual. If they're sensual, it means that if that TV's on and they are not liking it, their body's going to be completely shut off. They need the candles, they need the fan to make sure the air temperature's nice, so they don't want socks on their feet. They want to make sure that the sheets are clean. All their senses needed to be ready for them to be focused, because otherwise you could come guns blazing in, ready to go, and their body's like, I'm thinking about the TV, I'm thinking about my socks, I'm thinking about laundry everywhere.
Sorry, I'm really fixated on the socks thing. I don't know how people can wear socks to bed. You're not 12 anymore. Take the socks off. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And
let them breathe.
Get rid of the TVs out of the bedroom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a TV in our bedroom, but it's never on. It's more for if the kids are sitting in there on a Sunday morning or something. I can't watch TV in bed anymore. That's that's an early 20s thing. Yeah. Get rid of the TV. Get rid of the fucking TVs out of the bedroom. Seriously, honestly. Yeah.
With all of that suppressing, that'll bring on resentment, wouldn't it? Yeah. And how would you talk about navigating that?
So this is where it's really important to, you know, sometimes we do relationship check-ins. We also need to do our sexual energy check-ins as well, and how we're actually connecting intimately and whatnot. So there's a list, and there's so many resources out there that show up of like yes, no, and maybe. What are you into? What are you not? And when you actually give you and your partner these, you need to look at both of them and see what are your yeses, what are your no's, and what are your maybes. And the maybes have to be, so if you've got a maybe and he's got a no, it's a no. But if there's obviously maybe, or if there's yes, then you work on those and you sort of trial and experiment them. Because in the end, sex is a skill. It's never going to be perfect from the beginning. It's something that you are willing to open yourself up to. And a lot of people go straight into, well, I've got to buy more instruments or buy more, you know, lingerie for her. But we're not actually focusing so much on an external thing rather than actually looking at our bodies. Our bodies show so much of how we receive pleasure, and our skin is the biggest organ that we actually have. There is so much texture and beautiful, pleasurable points that we can actually stem from our bodies that we don't actually have to always externally use them. We can use them, absolutely. Great enhancement. But we want to actually make our bodies feel fully turned on before we involve any instruments or pleasure things into it. Because when we can feel turned on ourselves, and that's a thing I know a lot of women don't actually have, is they don't actually feel turned on about themselves, which means that they're reliant on their partner for pleasure. And if their partner's wanting a certain way with sort of sex, then it gets that sense of resentment. And, you know, there's this pressure. And, you know, when they go in to try and lean in for intimacy, there's this resistance of like, hang on, we haven't like met each other at the same point. So what we want to do is we really want to ground a sense of safety. So we want to actually have a conversation first by knowing where they're at in the moment with their safety with another. Like, is it conversation safety? Does your body feel safe with me? And if that check-in is okay, then what we have to do is we have to over communicate when we are being intimate with someone. We need to make sure that people go, oh yeah, consent is just for the beginning. Sometimes we actually need a reminder. Our body has had an experience where we store so much energy in our bodies, and we want someone to just remind us that it's safe to feel that. We store a lot of emotion in our chest, you know, stress, anxiety, pressure from our day. So sometimes even just having both your hands on your partner's chest and just breathing with them, allowing the breath to really flow down into the body, into the system, and grounding them, and knowing that it's safe. And then you can lean into just, you know, touching the body, massaging, whatever you need to, and just opening up themselves. Now, there doesn't have to be the outcome of it leading into sex. It can actually just be you guys in the moment together and just breathing. And you remind her, there's no outcome out of this. We don't have to have sex. I just want to connect with you. So there's so much that we can actually take a step back just to reintroduce ourselves to our partner. And sometimes even just having a kiss and make out session before bed and just leaving it at that. And not having to feel like, okay, we have to go being intimate, because we want the evidence to prove that we're not doing it from a pressure point and we're actually doing it to connect back to each other. We want that, you know, when you first date, that intensity to come back and that aliveness to come back. So what's happened is the resentment has really detached from your whole being, and you want to have it that you have to rebuild that. So we have to start off with the slow parts. And I know a lot of people would be like, oh, but the urgency, I really want to like get into it. I hear you, but don't pull down your sexual charge from that. It's okay to feel stimulated. It's okay to still be where you're at. It's okay to release in moments where you need to for privacy. That's okay. That's not the issue. It's we have to find the patience, because the longer run of you reconnecting is so much more important than the resentment still being there and the pressure of connecting.
So kind of like a less is more.
Yeah, because it's not always just about like the biological side of things, like man, woman have sex, create baby.
Yeah.
Like, you know, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Here's a baby. Like, you know, because it's so much more than that. I mean, you know, dolphins have sex.
I was just about to say dolphins.
Yeah, like,
That's one fact that I know.
And, you know, and I guess humans are the same. Like, it doesn't always just have to be about procreation. Like, it's not about just that, like, biological level. It's, yeah, you can enjoy it a little bit more if you're kind of slow it down a little bit, right?
It'd be hard to find a man though that'll be able to just say, yeah, okay, let's just make out, and then we'll just call it quits. I think most men would.
Yeah, I guess with
Which is why you're saying, like, you know, we have to train ourselves to go, okay, less is more, and then when it does happen, you're connected, and the experience is going to be better for everyone.
Yeah.
Which is like what I would assume what you're getting at is like that. It's like the that honeymoon phase of, you know, I'm getting close to my partner again, and okay.
Yeah, well, you think about it when you you were first dating, right? You had a period of time where there was still that intensity, but you waited to a point to actually have sex and to connect. So it's kind of like recharging that again. It's not about saying that, you know, you're going to get there, but we want to just remind yourself that you're doing this to actually get a deeper, enjoyable, pleasurable connection again. You have to remind yourself that it's not about, I have to get this to happen as quick as possible, because then your resentment is going to double. And when you've got so much resentment sitting there, it is then a nightmare to have to do it. So you have to overcome that thought of thinking, oh, you know, I don't know if I can hold out or whatever it is. The severity of a double resentment and your woman actually coming to the point of coming home and saying to you, I don't love you anymore and I don't have a connection with you anymore, is a major fear that a lot of men have. So if you want that to happen, then you need to be patient for this phase.
And it happens a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like women are a lot more able to disconnect emotionally than men are. Men will, from what I know, men will always try everything to keep a relationship together, but women can check out really easy. And it's funny that because, like on that biological level, women are the ones that choose a man and want to be with the man to, you know, obviously make babies, whereas men are more easy just to go sow seeds. But women are the ones that can check out more easily than men. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I found really fascinating is our arousal is so different between a woman and a man. Now, this isn't everyone, and I hate when those categories of like straight away everyone thinks I'm this pocket and I'm this label. It's like we actually can evolve in both. So as much as you're saying about women with babies, I've learned so much about coming into my feminine power and into my sexuality is that I don't feel a sense of stemness just because I want to make babies. I feel turned on because I fucking want to and I want to enjoy that. And the thing that I find so invigorating is when we are with arousal, yes, a woman will take a bit longer than a man, right? So there's two parts. So there's spontaneous arousal and there's responsive arousal. So spontaneous arousal is they're ready to go. They can see something that's hot and juicy and they can just feel so turned on straight away. Where responsive has to have a connection, a context, or they actually need a warm up in order to feel pleasure. So you could give your partner lingerie as a gift, if it's always a common thing that people say, but you know, give them as a gift and then you see her in it and you'd think, bang, I'm in, I'm ready to go. But she could not be ready to go. So this is where being able to make sure that she feels warmed up, and it doesn't mean, when I say warm up, doesn't mean going down on the clit and just going to town. It actually means complimenting her, making sure that she feels really good in her body. And also it's a woman's responsibility to know how to turn herself on as well. Because we can't, like as women, we actually can't depend on a man just to turn us on. We have to be responsible and feel delicious in our own bodies and to go, you know what? I love the energy that I'm putting out. And that part is so orgasmic when a man sees a woman and she's just so in her skin, feeling alive and happy with herself. And there's moments where obviously I know that there's emotions that come through and we feel all over the place. But when we actually have sexual energy, it's higher than confidence. Confidence is great. It's happy. It keeps us content. But when we have sexual energy, it really invigorates and it's magnetic. And that's what we want from our partners, is just to feel that they have that safety. So the biggest thing is women need to feel safe within themselves to feel that sense of sexual confidence. If they don't feel safe, then they won't actually feel turned on about themselves. And that's something that, you know, we have to do the work on, is to feel safe within ourselves and then having a loving partner that makes us also feel safe. And then for men with that spontaneous type of response, it's how do you actually allow that sexual charge to not be something that is like, I have to quickly release it. It's how can you actually consume it and let it be your power and actually stay for a little bit longer and know that it's okay that you can let it be there. Know that it's actually more of a standpoint of like a leadership, you standing in your power more, and it's invigorating when a man is just standing and owning that sexual charge at the same time.
Yeah, it's I guess like for me personally, I like to, sow seeds all day. You know,
Perfect.
like if I kind of feel like I might feel like, could get it on later, I'm going to be sowing seeds all day. You know what I mean? Gentle touches, pats on the bums, in passing, little kisses here and there. Just sowing those seeds, you just get that little bit of connection all day. My kids are going to cringe when they watch this in 10 years.
No, they're actually going to be thankful that you're open about the conversation.
And they'll be like, oh my God, is that what's happening? And, but, like it's about, because it's about connecting, they're making those connections all day long, those reconfirming and those affirming gestures and whatnot. It's just not like walking into the bedroom later going, all right, whip gear off, I want to get into it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess as a male, like I'm pretty much good to go whenever the wife is ready to go.
Yep.
Sorry, Nick. She's got a love.
No, that's good. That's good that you're acknowledging that.
Yeah. And I guess a majority of the time it's generally up to her, which is not a bad thing. Because, obviously you want her to feel like it's something that she wants to do too. As a male, like, I could pretty much go whenever you want, you know what I mean? But for her, that's not the case. She's in her 40s now, so she's going through like perimenopause. So for her, it's not always something that she desires or she wants, or and for me, it's just a matter of understanding that. But I will still continue those small gestures all the time, not in the hope that it's going to happen, but it's because I'm just showing that I care about her and that I still find her attractive, regardless of whether it's been a week or 3 weeks. Because there's never really any pressure. Like I said, we've been together a long time now, and so it's just having that very broad understanding of each other, and that's come from a deep level of communication too. So, and it doesn't always have to be verbal communication either. So it's I think now, like, even the longer we've been together, the better it's become too, because we have that deeper level of understanding with each other, and so it's not boring, it's always very exciting, and so yeah.
I think it can go both ways, though. I think men want that as well, to be reminded that their partners want it. Give me a little bum tap.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it works both ways, and I like when it happens that way, it leads to great things.
Yeah.
But I think the general conversation I get in here from a lot of people that I know, friends and males, it's the men that are putting in I wouldn't say the extra work, like the things that we like to do, remind our wives, we're thinking of them, that we still find them sexy and all that stuff. But I often hear that it's the men doing it. It's never the wives reciprocating.
See, I like being that person though. Like I'm the man of the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
don't get me wrong. Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes
I like being
you
the
still
provider. I like being the protector. I like being the one that kind of has that.
I like to feel hot too. I just think it can go both. It can go a little bit more in the other direction as well.
I think for me, like it comes like I don't necessarily need those little things because I get it from my wife in different ways. Like even just like her saying, I don't find other men attractive. It's like, yeah, that's right. Like, and for me, that's just like, I don't, that's enough, like, and so it's kind of like, and she'll be like, I don't see any hot men around. That's like, really? Like, I see.
Fuck, I do.
I think I see plenty of hot men around, but okay. that's cool, whatever, like, and so, yeah, like it's different. The context of what women do to what men do is very different, and so, and that's like, not everything has to be equal.
No.
Like, men and women aren't equal. And I think that's I think that's part of it too.
Yeah. I completely agree with both, because I think it comes down to what stems you on and what turns you on. And that's why there's no rule book to this is how your relationship is meant to go and it's meant to go this way. This is why when you know what turns you on and what you enjoy, then you need to open up and invite those conversations and say whether this is enough or, I would really appreciate, and it will make me feel happy and, make me want to do more for you because you do this and this, or, I love how you're doing this and it really shows up for me. So when we have that feedback, it's not a word I really like to use, but it's feedback, allowing them to say that this is what I really appreciate you doing. And we can't just assume. We cannot assume anymore that we know what's happening and what we like. We have to be the over communicators and actually tell them what's going on. And as you said, like in relationships, we go deeper because we learn so much about them. And then there's people that go the opposite because they haven't actually communicated along the way. And knowing that we change and we evolve so much. Yes, there's like so much conversations that men's hormones kind of stay plateaued and there's not much of a change, but their emotions are so important and they change. There's an emotional flow that men go through, and women have such a beautiful gift to nurture that. So then how can we do little things that actually allow the man to feel like he can talk about his emotions or feel like his body feels safe to, enjoy that sexual conversation between the two of you or the intimacy, whatever the play is. But then we also want to honor that we also are okay to just sit with one another and reflect upon what do we want in this part of our life? What do we actually really want to work together in this relationship, because we're a team. We don't need to be coexisting. We don't need to be roommates. We need to work as a team. And how can we actually, I know this word is going to trigger a lot of people, but time. Where is the time? Because it's not incidental, it's intentional time. And a lot of the time we focus on that it has to be so much. And as you said, the little seeds are great. And it's like, how can we either spontaneously book that time that is, some people will wait till after a date to be intimate, but I love finding out that from this chick called Vanessa. She's a sexologist, and she was saying that if you have sex before you go out, it really intensifies your conversation even more. So when you're getting ready, maybe both have a shower, whatever you need to do the things before you go out on the date, and you will find that you are just so refreshed and enjoying the conversation. And I can tell you right now, there's so many women that will actually appreciate that more, because when she comes home with a full belly, she's bloated and tired and they're exhausted and everyone's just zonked and they're like, I just don't want to. So there's so much pressure to do it at that time. And, it really doesn't have to be the narrative of what we programmed our, relationships to be. Is we get to design it. And every single relationship is so unique. We just have to open up about what we want. And it's okay to have your ear out on how others are doing it and see if there's any ideas to help promote your own, relationship and the conversations. But we just have to come back to our why and what we want in that relationship. And it's so important that we just go, well, this is ours, this is what we like, and we're going to own that. And this is how we like it.
Yeah. And to be fair, if you're in a committed relationship with somebody, you should be able to be 100% honest with each other. This is your partner, this is your girlfriend, this is, your boyfriend, whatever. You should be able to talk to them openly and honestly, instead of being able to just talk about open and honestly with your mates. The one that you should be talking about it is usually the one that people find the hardest one to talk about it with, right? And so, yeah, that's, I guess that's sort of something that I've seen growing up, is that people don't often communicate their needs with each other, but they'll tell somebody else what they think they need. And it's just kind of, well, that's a bit backwards,
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more. Yeah.
I've just had a question pop into my head, and I don't know if it relates to what we were just talking about, but I'm
Go for it.
love language. How important is it for understanding each other's love language and then realizing that the differences in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to get that right. Is that a big? No, I wouldn't. Okay, not an issue, but is that something that you really need to take into consideration? Like, for example, someone might have a person that likes to show their affection by doing. I've just drawn a mental blank. This happens a lot. Like, a wife will do all the cooking, the cleaning, the lunches, and all that stuff, but the husband will do the opposite, but then trying to get him to speak the same language. What I'm trying to get at is how important is it to realize your partner's love language and trying to get that in on the same frequency as your partner. I don't know. I don't know how I'm hopeless today.
No, I got you. I got you.
I don't really know much of that love language thing. Like,
I'm trying to unpack it. Sorry.
No,
I see a lot
got
of people talk about it on, like, dads groups and stuff like that. Do you know your wife's love language? But it's like, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. I don't know about it, but I don't feel like I've ever really needed to know about it. Maybe I do. I don't know. Yeah.
So I was introduced to love languages, and yet again, this is just another thing that people are clinging on to and hope that this is how their relationship is meant to be and how it's meant to form.
Boxing.
So I call it a bit of bullshit because I understand what they're trying to do, but the important thing about love languages is it's just showing different ways that we can actually show love, right? And we need to just honor that that's what it shows us. But it's like people saying, this star sign and this star sign are meant to be together, and all these things that are just like, oh my goodness. When you are connecting with someone, your values are meant to be number one. If you value, similar things and you support each other as a team, then that's more important than anything else. So love languages, I get, and I think it's something that we have now acknowledged that we're opening up conversations more. So I will amplify that it's a great thing that we are acknowledging, but now we are absolutely identifying that this is the main thing with love languages, and it's not. We all appreciate a little bit of everything of the love languages. And yes, there is more, but guess what? We're putting more pressure that our man and our partner is meant to know this. And we're just assuming again that they are meant to have this love language. And, this part gets a little bit annoying because then we don't appreciate the other parts.
Yep.
And we are blindsided. And then they're so fixated that they've got to try to find a partner that will only give them that one thing. Rather than going, you know what? I need to actually appreciate what the man's doing a bit more. Or I need to appreciate the other things. Because there's so many times that males come to me and they just say, like, I'm giving so much, Katelin, and I'm just not getting anything back. I'm showing up, I'm doing the lunches, I'm chipping in, I'm trying to be intimate, I'm giving her flowers. Like, what more am I meant to do? And this is where it's a little bit wake-up call to women that we actually have to appreciate not just the one love language. We have to appreciate everything that they are doing. We have a voice to raise if there is something that's disrespectful, that wasn't okay, then we speak up. We set the boundary. Hey, I really didn't appreciate you doing this, but I really appreciate when you did do this. We have to go back to what we do appreciate. Say the negative first, outlet that first, then come back to what they did do right.
Men love a good sandwich.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Slap it on a sandwich. The positive, the negative, and then finish on a positive.
Yeah. So I want to respectfully say that it just is another thing out there that people are clinging on to and hoping that this is what's going to hold their relationship together.
Yeah, whenever I hear the word love language, I just roll my eyes in my head.
My head went back and I was like, oh.
Like it's there, but you're right. People are just clinging onto it and trying to find another answer to a problem.
Yeah.
And it's just causing more problems.
It's pigeonholing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I'm of that same thing.
Because if you're single and you're like, but I've got this love language.
Yeah,
and he's
it's
not.
like, fuck
he's
off.
not all about it. And it's like, man, you could have just passed up on the guy of your dreams because he doesn't fit your criteria. For whatever reason. And same goes, vice versa for men with girls. It's kind of
Yeah, I just I just because I speak to a lot of people about this kind of things, and it's a lot of feedback that I'm getting about. Oh yeah, but it's their love language. It's this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, love language.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, like if you put my wife and I on paper, like at the start, Like there is no way that you would have, like if we're in a dating app, like in a you know
Yeah.
dating service, and you put her on the table, me on there's no way that you would have matched us together. Here we are,
Yeah.
you know, all these years later. It's because she is different to me and I am different to her, and we come together somewhere in the middle. Like we've both got really dark sense of humors. We both get ourselves, you know, we both understand each other's humor. We're both very yeah, like you say, like we have the same values and stuff like that. But I love being outside and being exercising and doing all my shit, being extreme, whereas she's more than happy just to go sit on the beach with a book. Whereas I'm just like, oh, this is boring. Like, where's the waves? Like, yeah. And so, you know, we complement each other quite well. But if we had have kind of been like looking at all of these characteristics that I liked back then and she liked it, it was like, well, we
Never would have
probably-
happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, she did hit on me. Yeah.
You are a catch.
Wow, apparently. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I've never really got into the whole love languages thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you just figure it out by talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, as I said, it's open the conversation, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that we just need to take the nugget out of it, which is it just shows us there are other ways of showing love, and it doesn't have to be just one thing. And we just have to show that there's a lot more appreciation in even the smaller things as well as the big things. So when we can both honor that for each other, we understand our back roots of who we were and who we were becoming, and that person has been through that with you, and we want to honor that you both have gone on your own quest and, you know, evolved over time, and you have to acknowledge that there is so much beauty that you both have gone through together, and being able to nurture each other and support each other every step of the way. There's sometimes we get so caught up in what's wrong rather than what's right, and we have to reflect on how far you've come in your relationship as well. There is so much for you to stem on. And I'm going to kind of weave into another pathway only because I know that there are some men that probably might be thinking, but how come sometimes I've got this connection with my partner, but yet I'm attracted to an energy or something outside of my relationship? And one of the things that is so important is people need to understand the two top primal drivers of men and women. So for men, purpose is number one, where for women, connection is. So if a man finds a woman in her purpose and she's very invigorating and she's very, you know, stimulated in that same part, there's an attractive lens that he feels, well, if I'm not getting supported by my partner around my purpose, around what I'm doing, then there's this attractiveness and an energy that flows with this other person. And I'm coming home to her nagging me for connection and really wanting that sort of sense of, you know, bond between the two. Then he's going to think, well, this is more attractive and I feel like this is the desire, but it's missing the connection. It doesn't have the full package. When you have that coincide between the both of you honor the connection from that female perspective and you honor that purpose for both of you, then you actually have a really beautiful symphony between the two of you. You honor that the man needs space to work on his purpose, but you also come back into that connection and invigorate it and give time and energy into that relationship as well. It's so important that we are doing both to be able to do it. So that's why a lot of men are missing the connection part. They just sit back and they go, everything's fine. I'm here. I'm in the room. Isn't that enough? And it's like, no, you need to put your place in and show up for the connection. And you will get a beautiful outcome because you're connecting and you'll get intimate and you'll know that there's actually play with that as well. And this is the thing why women crave connection so much. If they're not getting it, then they will turn into this sort of, I wouldn't say like beast, but turn into this different, and it becomes quite unattractive to men because they're like, oh, like, where's that just feeling good within yourself connection and knowing that we're good? Like, because then it becomes this neediness and overwhelmingness and I need this, where women have to work on their connection with themselves and be able to stand on their own 2 feet and know that it's okay, but then also deepen. And we give a lot of nurturing gifts to men that bring you down into connection and that importance of, you know, knowing how to be like that intimacy in a new level. So we give a lot of gifts, but so do you as well. So it's so empowering when we can actually connect the two of them and support each other around that as well.
What are some tips for a man to be able to do that for his wife, to make her feel better and invigorated and comfortable in her own skin and all that? Like, we talk, like I've heard you speaking about it. I'm just thinking, okay, what are these things? what can I do to help? Obviously, she's got to feel comfortable in her own as well, but we've got a part to play as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that a lot of men try to focus on is getting her to talk about her thoughts and what's going on in her mind. But what's actually happened is when she's not feeling good about herself, her mind is spiraling like no tomorrow. She's had enough energy in her head. So what are the things, and she's got the list of things on top of it. So what are the things that you could pick up and do in the household that will just take her mind of going, oh, okay, that's one less thing I have to think about. Okay. Then the other part is sometimes, and it's sometimes difficult for men, but I know you can do this, is sitting there and letting her just talk. Just let her talk. And you don't have to fix it. I know I have to say this so many times. You're probably going to want to fix it. You're going to want to try this and say this. Don't.
Yeah.
For the love of God, don't. Just let her say what she needs to. In your mind, say whatever you need to. Just go, oh my goodness, I wouldn't be doing that. But anyways, yep. I'm here, I'm present. And let her exhale. She needs to let it off. One of the other things is I actually would really encourage her, and everyone needs to do this, is a really healthy anger release, is using your pillow in your bed and actually screaming and letting all that tension out and that frustration out into the pillow, hitting a pillow on the bed and just letting it out. We actually want to, evaporate the emotion that's storing in our bodies, and we want it just to let it go. And there's so many words that are coming in her mind. So just letting her sort of base herself. And with that, you'll know that she'll feel exhausted first, but she will feel like, oh, I've got weight off my shoulders. And while she's having that, you can just kind of set up the space and make it nice, and then come back in and just go, I'm here to support you. And knowing that she's got that safety is actually going to make her feel that she's got a space to feel safe. So when she feels safe, then she can know that, okay, well, what can I do now? I feel safe. Let's work on the next thing. I need to show up now. I need to do things for myself. She's got so much going on that she needs to come back to, how do I feel safe within my own skin again, so I can feel confident to taking those next steps. But she needs to, everyone will invest in a program or coach or whatever it is. Women need to do that as well. They need to be taken care of and actually supported along the way. So, you can obviously plant a seed, but don't push it. Be like, hey, I saw this, if you're interested, have a conversation with this person or follow this person or whatever it is. We're not fixing. We can suggest. But if you see that, if you give a suggestion and she's like off it, then you go, okay, she's clearly not wanting to receive anything. I won't do that for a while.
Just send her some cat videos. I was a fixer for a long time. Like, it was sort of something, just being very logical and, a man, and being a builder, coming from trades, always fixing things and whatnot. And for me, that was something that I had to learn. My wife went through some pretty bad sort of postnatal depression after our first daughter and stuff like that. And it was sort of like, and within that time, it was kind of like I had to kind of really take a step back and kind of just let it happen and let her kind of take care of it in her own way instead of me, because it was frustrating for me, because it's like, even though you think you've got the answers, and sometimes you do, most of the time you don't, sometimes you do, it's kind of like, and because you can see the forest for the trees, but yeah, it was just sort of learning how to take that step back. And I mean, I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it. Like, I'm still guilty of, like, she'll be like, oh, I got this problem. I'm just like, oh, well, blah, blah, this. And it's kind of like, well, actually, no, I just need to just let it be the problem, like, instead of trying to fix it, because that's what men do. We're very solution minded. We don't always have to be. No.
And sometimes it's even, she will ask if she wants it to be fixed, or, ask for your help or support. That's the one thing I know women will do, is they will actually say to you, okay, can you do this? And you need to then go, okay, I will do that, because I know that this all little bits of evidence show that our connection is get stronger because I'm showing up in these moments. And that's your fixed part. That's the part that you go, okay, I can focus on that. I can do that. No problem. Yeah. And then one of the things that we want to do for men is, because obviously if you're giving that time and energy for women to offload and to talk, women have to respect space for men. If a man says, I need space, that doesn't mean following him. That doesn't mean texting him. Doesn't mean calling him. We have to honor it. And in that moment, I want to say to women that when he is giving that space and time, he is actually appreciating you more because you have given him that space and time.
That's right.
So he actually loves you more because he's like, you know what? Thank you for doing that, because I just needed to exhale. I just needed to think. So women, because we have such a big desire of connection, we worry thinking, oh my gosh, okay, does this mean that he doesn't want to be a part of me or whatever it is? So men at the beginning, just before that space, can go, it's got nothing to do with you. It's just me and I just need some space. We're all good. And that reassurance, just to make sure that she doesn't spiral. If there's you've had a bad argument or whatever it is, or, the day before, and you think, and she's thinking, oh my God, she just wants time away from me. No, it's got nothing to do with you. If it is, then obviously communicate, then that's a conversation. That's different. But if it's you just wanting to have space, we just need to reassure her that it is nothing to do with you. I just need this for me. When we can do that, and women in that, we have to respect and trust that that is what it is. And then we have to focus our energy on ourselves. Okay, what can I do for myself that makes me feel good, that fills my cup? Because he's doing that for him. I need to do this for me. And that's your priority, is how do you fill your own cup in your own space? And then when you're together, how do you work as a team together on things?
Yeah. Yeah. I found like in the very early phases of our relationship, like my wife, she would seek me and my connection for her happiness, but I've had happiness within hobbies and sports that I did. And so I didn't always need that connection or that happiness from her. I'm like, yes, it was lovely. Like, she was my wife, my girlfriend at the time. But there was always a real sense of guilt that got added to that as well. It's like, wow, you're off doing your thing all the time. Like, and here I am not, not having you as my time. It's kind of like, and so there was a bit of I wouldn't say disconnect from that, but that's sort of something that I see within a lot of relationships is that men don't necessarily need to have that connection 24/7 in order to feel happy, whereas women feels like women need that a little bit more than men do. Like, men want to go out into the bush and beat their chests and cut down trees and fucking, do dumb shit. Whereas women, they think, oh, that's silly. I want you to be here with me. And so that's the balance that you've got to figure out. Like, like mine and my wife, we've had our ups and downs. We've been through every type of relationship that you could probably throw, on the table. And we did part ways for a small amount of time in that first sort of phase of our relationships. And part of us getting back together was that, I guess it was like I needed more support from her in the things that I wanted to chase or do, and she needed to realize that just because I wanted to do those things, it didn't mean that I didn't want to be with her. Because the way that I think about it is like, well, if we're together forever, why can't I go and do these things? And because that's, I guess I'm a bit old school like that. Like, like I kind of, if you choose somebody, then, let's try and make it work, forever. Like I want to have that relationship like my nan and granddad had, being together forever, and forever is not an infinity thing. Like, it doesn't, and you can't perceive what's going to happen tomorrow, but, let's try and be a little bit more meet in the middle, because women, the way that they see the connection is a lot different than how men see the connection. And so, men just want to go and beat the chest sometimes.
And that's the thing. You gave the perfect example of why those two primal drivers are so important around knowing, women for connection and men for purpose. And purpose can be hobbies and little things that you do as well. It doesn't have to be just your work. But this is why for women, they love connections with even friendships as well as finding a space that they can just, chit and, there's hot girl walks and all that kind of shit out there. But, you know, those things matter so much. And they, you know, everyone's saying it's so hard to find good friends as well at this age as well. And, you know, it's these things that, you know, women are trying to do, but if they are at home and they're hanging on for dear life for their partner, that's where there's sort of a stretch on the, you know, and pressure on the relationship, because there's that codependency of like, this is everything I want. And annoyingly, there's some emotional manipulators out there that, you know, love bomb and put so much energy into a woman and be like, yeah, this is all going to happen, and then just shoot off and go, nah, that's it. Where women just feel like, okay, if I find a man, then they have this fear of like, but if he goes, then what happens? And they're fearful of being on their own. And this is why I coach a lot of women as well, is because I want them to feel that it's okay to have that connection, but a connection with yourself and being independent is so important to have, so that you can still have both, still have a loving, strong relationship, but having that relationship with yourself. Because a lot of women haven't actually worked on a relationship with themselves. They've done so much to give to others. They then found a partner, then they've made kids, and then it's constantly about everyone else, and they've completely forgotten about themselves. So then all of a sudden they dive into going, well, hang on, you're leaving me. Okay, hang on, you're keeping away from me. What is this about me? Has something happened? Because that's the evidence of like, it's all been about relationships, and that's right. It. So, and then you try and give them the idea and fix them, be like, well, why don't you just try something? Or why don't you just do something? And they're like, no, I just want to be here. And they don't actually know the difference between that. So we don't want to try and fix, we want to just communicate how important it is that your space and time is not about her. And then you showing up and doing these things, it's evidence. It's showing her that she needs to pick up and do something, and she needs to figure it out. But she has to be the one willing to show up and go, I might actually try this. And we got to wait for whatever that sign is for, I might try this club, or I might go to, you know, catch up with this person. We have to wait for them to do it. But we also just need to keep showing up that this is what it's going to be. But then annoyingly, I know there's some people out there going, oh, all he does is go to golf and that's it. And it's so frustrating. And, you know, they you know, resent that thing that they're doing. So this is why we have to have, as I said, women to work on themselves as well, because it's not just men that need the help.
Men need to be able to do those things without having the feeling of feeling guilty.
No. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not worth doing.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. My wife, she's just become a Zumba instructor.
Oh, I love that.
That's something that she's been really passionate about over the last few years, and you know, it's sort of slowly stemmed into sort of her taking on that extra little bit within that sort of community. So I'm really, really proud of her for doing that. She had her first instructor class this morning. So yeah, she did awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
But it's been a long time coming. Like, but I guess in the relationship, like, women are probably the ones that lose themselves the most. Like you're saying, like, because as a man, like, we don't have to bear children. We don't have to fucking carry that weight. We don't have to deal with all of those emotions that go with that, you know? And yeah, like, my wife's mental list is probably 3 times, 4 times as big as mine. And that's not because I don't care but it's because she's got this list of all of these tiny little micro things that I necessarily might not think is important at the time. And so my list is probably defined in a different way than hers is, you know. And so, yeah, women probably do lose themselves a little bit more within relationships, just because there's an added pressure of, you know, all of those things that women have to do. Yeah, like I leave to go to work in the morning before they, you know, as they're getting ready for school in the day. And so I'm not having to worry about school lunches, or where's the socks, or whose shoes are where, or where's your school bag, where's your homework book, where's all these sorts of things that go along with that. And then it's like getting the kids to school on time. There's all these little things that I don't need to, I'm just off doing my thing. And so, you know, yes, I'm making the money and I'm bringing home the money. And yes, that's important, but it doesn't put me on a higher level than her because I'm fucking bringing home all the money. Like, and I think that's something that, you know, I see a lot of, is that men, they kind of, I'm not putting down men here, you know what I mean?
No.
But they put themselves on this pedestal because oh, I'm the provider, I'm the protector, I'll bring home all the fucking bacon. It's like, it's like, yeah, but your wife probably does twice as much as you and your mental load. And so, yeah, it's, and I can't say that I'm not guilty of not doing enough either. I had a marijuana addiction for many years, and my wife put up with that. She put up with that, and so during that time, I probably didn't pull my weight very much, but different now, different playing fields now. So trying to make amends, but it's about finding that balance, say, within it, because women and men very different, but we can coexist really well if we allow that to happen. And I think a little bit of a tangent there.
No, we love them.
No, mate, that suits my brain fine.
No, that's the thing. I feel like I find that word so fascinating with tangents. I'm like, no, honor it, because what you said was so important, because it's just a micro way that we think for women, because we've got such a nurturing nature. We think in that future aspect of going, okay, I need to plan for this, this, and this, and the outcome of this, to knowing that the future of their health is going to be there, the future of the, the calendar thing of like knowing in advance what to plan, what to prep, because our nervous system can't handle in the moment frantic. It's not regulated like that. We need time to actually co-regulate our nervous system so that we can actually channel in all the things that need to be ticked off and done in that length of time. Where for a man, he's so much better at holding an intense amount of nervous system, charge in that moment. So that's why when shit falls all over the place, the man can step in and get it done, where the woman is straight away just holding on to the kids and being like, I need to nurture you and take care of you. So there's just the two different fight or flights in like how hunters and, we were back in the day. It's just how we are wired in that way, that women need to have time to plan things. So that's why sometimes men get a bit like, why are you thinking about, this date, or why are you thinking about 3 months down the track? She needs to regulate her nervous system so that she feels at ease and she can actually get everything that's out of her mind. Because as soon as something comes up, it's like a dump of like 50 thoughts on top of everything else. Okay, I've got to plan this, I've got to think of this, I've got to do this and do that. And even just holding her hand in that moment going, hey, what can I do to support you? And that connection is so important, of going, oh, actually, can you do this? That takes one thing off my list of things to do, but I'm happy to do the rest. But if you can do that, that will mean a lot. And it's not to say, as you said, a man coming home for what he does. We also appreciate what you guys do, because the hours and the capacity of you having to constantly get up, leaving the kids and leaving, certain events and missing out on things. There's so much that you guys do as well that we actually have to praise you for as well. So there's no who does it easy, who does it, harder. But I think we just need to take a moment to reflect on both roles and just being able to appreciate what they're both doing and how can we support and do the little things that, whether you send a note in, your husband's bag and just be like, thank you for all that you do for the family. And he just opens up at work and it just cheers him up for that morning, And then what could you do before you leave work? Just that couple of seconds, just get something done just before you go if you can. It's just a little thing, or 1% every day just adds up in the end, which is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though, like I'm strapped for time in the mornings, I still empty the dishwasher as I'm making my cup of tea and my breakfast, so that it's not something that my wife has to do. Well, the kids are making breakfast and she's having to make lunches, and it's like she opens the dishwasher, like, I can't put anything in there, and then it's like another added thing on top of there, and it's like, so that's just one thing that I try and do in the morning, just to just alleviate that little bit for her. So yeah. What do you do, bro?
Well, I do my best to pick up the kids every day.
Yeah.
And my wife, I understand, I couldn't do the morning routine that she does. Like it'd do my head in getting up. I find it hard enough to get myself up and dressed out the door on time. My alarm goes off 10 minutes before I get out the door. And
you know what though? Like my wife was a stay-at-home mum for many years. Okay. I did it for 1 year. And I think every man who has kids of a young age should be a stay-at-home dad for 1 year. I loved it. I absolutely thrived in the role. And my wife being like, oh, look at you, you're so good at everything. It's just like, no, but because I come from a building background, I read plans, I'm very structured in my work. Like I absolutely loved doing that. And I think every man should actually, like, it's not demasculating you for being a stay-at-home dad. It actually, I think it gives you more masculine energy for being the ones that has to do that sort of role within your family. Like, I absolutely fucking loved it. Yeah, it was so good. I mean, and it was so weird. Like, you'd go out with your kids during the day, and mums look at you like, this is weird. And a lot of the looks that you'd get, those weird looks, would be from other mums. At the park, it's kind of like, why is a dad here? You know what I mean? Like, but it's kind of like, oh, no,
Why isn't he providing?
I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I loved it. And they're like, oh, okay, that's new. It's like, no, it's not really, but it's just not something you see very often. I understand that, but I think every man should do that. And I don't know. I think I was watching the last season of Maths, and that guy Ryan, he absolutely had a meltdown about the fact that he was asked, would you be a stay-at-home dad? Oh, no fucking way, like, I was just like, oh, man, get off it, man. Like, this is 2025 here, like, actually, I think I think you're more of a man if you can take care of your family in that kind of way, getting up in the morning and getting your kids organised. And, I mean, Dean's a stay-at-home dad. He loves it.
Woo.
Yeah. Good on you, Dean.
Good on you, big fella.
Yeah. Love you, bro. And so, I think that's sort of something that all men should have a crack at, even if it's just for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife wanted to really get back into work. She'd been longing to get back into work for a few years, and it was kind of like, oh, well, go have a crack, And it was, even though I ended up going back to work full time after a year, it was okay. Like, she needed that time to just have that time to herself, have that little autonomy to her own actions and what she did during the day, and that's cool. And I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful representation of just hearing each other's needs in that moment, and it's okay to change, and it's okay to honor where everyone's at, where they're in the situation, and it's, as you said, you're supporting everyone through that. And it's funny how you're talking about, all the mums that were, looking at situations strangely. I feel like deep down they were just hoping that someone would actually just meet them in that position of going, that could actually be an option, because it's constantly just an overdrive sometimes for women being like, I don't know whether or not he's going to do part, or if they're going to do something just to help out. And it's just, I think we've gone into this hierarchy of like, there's roles, and it's like, let's remove the roles and let's just be two human beings that are supporting each other through the relationship. And it doesn't matter whether you're the breadwinner or not. It's just about honoring what do you need in this moment, because our mental health, who we're showing up to be, our health, everything is so important, and we just need to redesign our relationship around that. And it doesn't matter what it is for everyone. It's just about honoring that. That's more important than anything else.
Yeah, I saw a really cool video one day of a couple, and they were explaining this thing that they do for each other. And it's like, he'll come home in the afternoon and he'll say, where are you at? And she'll be like, look, I'm only at like 65%. And he's like, okay, cool. I'm going to pick up the rest for you. Let's balance it out, because I'm feeling like I'm at 90. I've had a great day. So let's try and take some of your 65, and I'll bring that up for you. And then the next day, he might have had a shit day and she's had a good day. So she's like, okay, well, I'll pick up the slack there a little bit, go put your feet up, go take a moment. And I thought that was a really good understanding of each other, and a really good, healthy way to do it, because it's not just always one-sided. It's you helping each other out in the moment. And so I thought that was really neat. Yeah, because not every day, you're not on every day,
No.
And it's like, and I understand, and I'm pretty guilty of it. Like, my wife's done by the end of the day, shower time before bed with the kids. My wife's absolutely done. And that's probably when I need to step up the most, because I'm not really that done, but I don't like getting in amongst the conflict. And so I kind of just let it happen, but I probably should step in and let my wife kind of have that moment to herself. Yeah. Because I guess I'm a little bit more calm in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it was knowing that you've got those gifts to be able to do that. And I always say to men when you come home from work, if you need to, and I actually wouldn't do it in your driveway in front of the house, because if she sees that car and she wants you to come in, if you're sitting in your car, you are aggravating her like no tomorrow. So park somewhere else away from the place, or, you know, even just 2 minutes near the house, or what, or if you find a space away from work, that's fine. But just take a moment just to debrief and just take a moment for yourself and do what you need to, whatever works for you, whether it's listening to a song or journaling or voice noting, just, you know, offloading all the stuff from work, just like, oh, I just want to take that junk out of my thoughts, and then go, all right, I'm switching the radio and turning into home mode now. And this is where I'm showing up to now. I'm not bringing this energy home. And it's okay to talk about work still if you need to talk about it, but it's about, okay, now this is where I'm showing up in this space of being the father figure, the husband, and what can I honor? And it's the learning parts. When we see something happening, it's like, okay, how can I step into that? You know it and you're aware of it and you're conscious of it, and that's okay. But it's now taking the action where you can and going, okay, I'm going to prove to myself, I'm going to get out of this jiggle of me just keep saying it in my head. I've got to step into it and have a go and have a crack. And you'll notice a shift in your mindset around it, going, actually, that worked really well. Okay, all right, let's try that again. Oh, nope, that didn't work. We will come back to that, reevaluate that and try that again. So
That's right. Yeah, when I used to have a bad day at work or a really busy, heavy day, like we lived close to a beach, so I would not drive past my house to the beach because I didn't want the kids to see me drive past, or, you know, I didn't want to be busted driving past and going to the beach. But I'd kind of go to the beach in another direction, and then, you know, take a couple of minutes and then go home. And when I eventually told my wife that I did this, she was a bit upset, you know, like, well, why don't you want to come home straight away? It wasn't that I didn't want to come home straight away. It was, and it's not that I didn't know that she needed me home, but it was for that reason, that if I didn't take that moment to switch off from my work day to then becoming dad mode, like, I found that really hard. And so I would feel a lot better for doing that and then coming home in a different mindset than if I had just come straight home from work. And so, because it wasn't a long drive, so I didn't have that long drive to decompress either. So it was like, and even I do that even now, like I'll sit out in the car park in our complex and I'll do my admin, you know, and they generally know I'm home because my kids will be out playing and stuff, and they're like, oh, Dad's home. They'll come over and just do my admin, and they'll, you know, give me that 10 minutes to do what I need to do, and then it's like I go inside. And I think that's a really important thing for men in general, is, and even your wife. Like if your wife comes home, you know, like for anybody, take that couple of minutes before getting home. So yeah, you can switch from one mode to the other, because it's really hard. Like, and a lot of the time, like I'd know that my wife's had a shit day or a hard day because she's dealing with a 5-year-old and a toddler, and it's been full on, and, you know, she'll probably be stressing because she hasn't cleaned the house or whatever. And none of that really mattered to me. I was like, if I took that couple of minutes to myself, I'd walk in and I'd just be like, she'd be like, oh, sorry, I haven't cleaned the house. And it's like, yeah, but you've got dinner on the table. You know, are you happy? And she'd be like, well, you know, I've had an okay day, but, you know, sorry I didn't get around to the cleaning. It's like, I don't care about the cleaning. Like, as long as you're happy, that's all that I worried about. That was all my main focus was like, is everyone happy? And it's like, the rest of it doesn't matter. I'll have my dinner and then I'll pick up the vacuum cleaner.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's important though, to be able to switch those modes. And I think anybody could do that. Like, you know, if you got the opportunity to do that. Like, I guess, and people feel guilty though for doing that, right? Oh yeah, but you know, feel selfish. You know, it's like, no, you know, you got to look out for number one.
Yeah.
You got to look out for number one.
Yeah.
Because if you're not feeling full, or, you know, if you're not feeling good, then how can you go home and be a good dad or be a good mum? And so,
Yeah. And I think as well, it's also sometimes when you come home, it's just having those open-ended questions, because even though it's such a beautiful thing that you're wanting people to be happy and whatnot, sometimes there is so much emotion that a woman is going through. She'll then feel like there's this pressure of going, okay, well, I have to feel a certain way to be, rather than just going, how are you really right now? And I really appreciate everything that you've done so far today. And when she just feels like she can kind of go, and then you show that I really love that you just were that emotion and you showed up in that emotion as well, because we want to honor that it's okay. We still see them even beautiful in those messy moments, and we're still there. But it's definitely not taking away from the happiness, and we want everyone to feel that. But we also want to honor the realness.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, she'd be pretty open if she wasn't feeling. No, I've had a fucking shit day, like, you know. And so and it's all right. It's like, all right, let's have dinner and go down the beach, because that's what we'd do. Yeah, miss that life, but it's all right. It's all right.
Change is good.
Yeah. Well, beauty doesn't pay the bills, you know.
No.
You know, beautiful landscape doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. So it's just, it's just one of those things. But and living in NZ, you're no more than 127 k's from the ocean anyway, so it's you're pretty lucky in that regard. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, Brayden, for your process around your home dynamic, what have you felt like to be challenging but also rewarding within your space? Because it's obviously, I feel like there's some beautiful things that Tim has been saying, but it'll be good to hear from your perspective as well.
It's a bit challenging. Yeah, because as soon as I leave from work, I'm getting calls about work. So yeah, I start work at 6, finish at 2, but then from 2 till I pick up the kids, I'm getting phone calls about problems from other factories, other warehouses, all that stuff. So I don't even get that time to shut off. And then I pick the kids up, and I'm either taking them to their activities, bringing them home. So I don't really get a chance to disconnect, even though I might sit at home while they're doing something. I'm still getting bombarded by them, which is fine. But then I feel like I have to. I don't feel like I have to. But then I'm like, you know, I'm unpacking the dishwasher, which, you know, I want to get done before my wife gets home. So when we're cooking and cleaning, we've got somewhere to put all the dishes at the time. And then because I know that she packs the lunches, I try my best to make sure that all the lunch boxes are dried and cleaned. And then if I wanted to, I guess what I do is when she gets home is I do have a long shower. But even then, I probably shouldn't be doing that.
No, it's okay to do that, because I was going to say that whether it's you being in the toilet or having a shower, that's your debrief time.
Yeah, it definitely is. But then when does she get to debrief? Because then she comes home from work and then she'll make a cuppa, but then she'll get bombarded by the kids. Then we start on dinner. Then she'll do a bit of washing. So it's...
Or maybe she could be the one that parks up the road for 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I would love for her to, if she wants to do some running, which I know she wants to do more of, take your runners to work.
Yep.
Before you come home, go for a run.
She could come on my running group on a Tuesday night.
Nah, she won't do that.
Oh, she could. It's not just for dads.
Nah.
You know?
Nah. But like, you know, she's got girlfriends that she goes for runs with anyway. But I'm just saying, like, by the time she gets home, then I feel bad for trying to disconnect, and I want her to be able to do it too. So it's like I said before, you've got to be able to do it without feeling guilty. Otherwise, it's... Yeah, well, that's it in a nutshell at the moment.
Yeah, but as you said, you just thought about a process that you could have a conversation about and say, okay, well, you take your runners.
Yeah, I didn't even. That's a good idea. Maybe she can be the one to debrief first.
Yeah.
Debrief, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
co-regulate in that.
Yeah. And I'd be more than supportive of that. I don't care if she got home later and I had everything cooked ready, and it just means when she gets home.
Because you like cooking, eh?
Oh, mate, I nailed ramen the other night. I was so happy with myself. The kids loved it. Everyone loved it.
Yeah.
Dopamine fix.
I love it.
Yeah. No, yes. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't mind doing it. Yep. So no, that's actually we just solved the problem.
I guess it's about, sitting down and just having a conversation like, where do you feel like you need a little bit of space or time?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I guess for me, like my wife knows that I need those extracurricular things. You know, I need that. You know, that's part of, you know, I'll die if I don't go out and do something for myself.
Don't get me wrong. Lara pushes me to go out and do this. She's the one that got me into the dad's community. She's the one that's still saying to Brayden, you know, you've stopped your yoga. Go back to doing it. Go back to doing meditation. I'll hold the fort for 2 nights.
She's let us convert the garage.
Yeah, convert the garage into what it is. Like, you know, she's supportive.
That's right.
She's lovely. Like, but yeah, I just...
Yeah.
I've got to let her. not let her. But yeah, maybe she needs to have that moment first before she gets home, and I'll just pick up the slack a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you know what was beautiful is straight away I could feel when you talked about cooking, you just lit up. And
I do
that
like it.
part is something that you can then obviously allow her to have her time to do what she needs to do. And that is how to help in any form of connection. That lit you up, and then she needs to find her thing that lights her up. And then when you come back together, there's a different energy between the two of you. And it's one of those things that, you know, unfortunately what she's doing is she's trying to fix and put things out to you and pushing you to go do this, do that. She's so supportive. That's amazing.
I love it.
But it's got to come from within you, and cooking just already felt like something.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that what we do, because what I used to do when teaching was I helped kids with their passion and purpose in life. So I helped spark a lot of things and what they drive from. So when there's a spark and there's an energy, I then try and filtrate what from that stems from an idea to allow people to, you know, fall into a hobby or something that they're passionate about, and what's something that they suppressed when they were younger that they really enjoyed doing, but they got told not to do it anymore. So there's so much within that we want to bring organically to yourself. What actually brings you that zest or that openness? And it doesn't need to be forced. It needs to just come from within. And then you will find that as soon as you find open to it, then there's opportunities that actually come your way of interest, conversations. You start talking about it more because you're like, oh, I'm into this. And then someone talks about, oh yeah, I tried this. Oh yeah, I'd love to try that recipe. Or, you know, there's cooking expos or, you know, festivals with food trucks. You know, there's different things that you can kind of stem from it that might actually get you invested into something that creates and becomes your thing. So it's when people find that spark, that's when it then helps you drive within your relationship. But when people unknowingly try and give and go, do this, do that, it becomes more like a chore rather than actually you zesting and wanting to do it. And it's nothing against your partner wanting to suggest and support. There is so much love coming from that, and there's no question about it. But we want to have it that you meet it in a way that actually fires you up and you feel zest around it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the suggestions about, like, you know, going back to meditation and yoga, is that she saw the mental health become better, which is why she's trying to get me to keep going again, because lately it's been down.
Yeah.
So I get why she's doing it, and she's absolutely right. But I just got to get myself back to doing it. But then again, it's like, you know, I get the time to do those things. I want her to have the time to be able to do what she needs to do to fill her cup more during the week, which, like you said, maybe go for a run before you come home. You know, get changed at work, go for a run. She lives near, works near Lake Eden, so go for a run around there 3 nights a week, and I'll do some cooking.
Yeah,
Man. Yeah, I was really guilty of in the first part of our relationship, because I had my hobbies and extracurricular things and my wife didn't. I really tried to like push her into doing extra things too. Like, but what that did is it had like the whole negative effect where it just demotivated her to want to do anything, because I was, I guess, too pushy, I guess. And so it wasn't until I kind of just went, oh, you know, it's not really my place to do that. And yeah. And even though it took time, you know, there was plenty of things that she, you know, has done and involved. And sometimes it wasn't even about doing something that was like a thing. It was just about, you know, she just wanted to go to the beach for the afternoon because that's something she likes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it doesn't have to be a thing where you're, you know, doing a thing. It's just, it's just doing something you enjoy, you know.
Yeah. And it's okay that we change. I think so many people get fixated of like, I have to do this challenge and I have to commit to it. And like, you know, that's fine. There's like, that's okay if that's what you are really wanting to do, but you want to have it that you have a variety. Like, we have to have something that enables us to grow as individuals. We have to be challenged. We can't just be in the same position, same situation every step of the way. We need to make sure that we are trying new things out of our comfort zone and throwing ourselves at those situations. And we learn so much about ourselves in that situation. rather than being like, this is the one thing and that's the only thing that I'm doing. So yes, you know, you can be a runner and go keep doing, you know, ultimate, you know, runs and all that kind of stuff, but you're still in the same process rather than going, okay, well, I'm going to go do an arts and craft class, and people are like, well, that's like way left. Yeah. But find something that you could actually be interested in, give it a go. And if it's really not, then it's not. But you obviously want to find a little bit of zest to it as well.
Yeah.
But it's just about sometimes trialing things and knowing it. And then when you have a mixture of things, sometimes it is just going to the beach and just having a moment and just breathing. And then there's moments where, you know, go out and dance for the night, or, you know, there's different things that people like to do, kicking the footy, whatever it is. It's okay to have difference because our bodies have so many different emotions that we're trying to process, and we need to comfort them in different ways. It can't always be the same thing every time and every way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, eh? And so I guess maybe let's just get back to the whole kind of, I guess, men and women in their relationships. We're part of like the dads community. I'm not sure if you know much about dads community.
No,
You know
I've
much?
heard about
Yeah,
it.
you've
Yeah.
heard about it? Yeah. So really, really good sort of community of men, dads. You know, we all come from different walks of life and stuff like that. I did put it out to the community last night, you know, a couple of questions and stuff, but I didn't get much response. Probably put it out a couple of days too late, actually. But for men that are going through hard times in their relationships and stuff like that, I actually had a really good conversation with a guy last night at the barbecue, Friday night barbecue, and he was saying that him and his partner, they were going through a rocky patch. So they took a break from each other. Now, I guess when you take a break, like, what would you deem that to be? You're taking a break from each other, or you're just taking a break with space? I guess what he deemed that to be was they're going to take a break from the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So within that break, he obviously had found another woman within that time. You know, not for anything other than a bit of fun. Man's got needs, right? As do women sometimes in that fun. But then they ended up getting back together. She found out that he had slept with this other woman, and you know, all hell breaks loose. It's kind of like, I guess, I don't know where I'm going with it, but what can men do with that sort of situation? Because I guess it's a situation that a lot of people find themselves in, right?
Yeah.
Is that, you know, you're having a rocky patch in your relation, and I know it probably doesn't help the situation, because if there's anything salvageable from taking a break, then you probably shouldn't be going out and messing around. You know, you should probably focusing on yourself and what those factors are within the relationship that caused the breakdown, sort of thing. But I guess, you know, from your professional perspectives, you know, like, what can men and women do to really just help each other in those moments? Because there's a lot of the times when we see these dads in these dads community, they're finding the dads community because there's been a great divide within their relationship, because they're seeking connection, because they're going through something. You know, there's guys like us who've been in committed relationships and stuff like that, and we use the dads community for a different avenue. But a lot of dads find the community because they're going through a divorce, or they're in a really rough patch in their relationship or something like that. So I guess, summarize, give us a summary of things that men can do in those moments where they can really help their situations, reconnecting with those partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been so mesmerized by how many men that have reached out to me about divorce, breakups, and the isolation that comes from them as well. And it is so hard to see how little there is of support for men, because we just assume that men are fine when there's a breakup or, you know, there's a situation. And it's something that I really wanted to honor and say that men also go through a very, very similar pathway in a male's viewpoint, but their emotions are still there. They may not talk about it or show it as much, but they're still there. There's still a hardship and a separation from the situation. Now, when we have these breaks or moments away from our relationship, there's a really, really clear line that has to be made when you are making this choice between your relationship. And it needs to be, we are breaking up completely or we are rediscovering. Rediscovering is still time and space, but it's rediscovering yourself because you've lost yourself in that motion of your relationship and you need time away from the relationship because the relationship's too consuming, it's too much, you can't breathe, you feel like you can't actually be in your own headspace. And that rediscovering is you not getting in someone else's
So
pants.
still being committed.
Still being committed, and it's still that you're together, but you're technically just taking a softer break from it so you can work on yourself. And that priority has to be number one, and nothing else breaks it. There is an agreement between the two of you. If anything comes to, attractiveness and attentiveness, and there's always tests in life. It always tries to see whether or not you're on that pathway or you're not. And they're surface level attractions. They're never deep level attractions.
That's right. It's lusty.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like, go have your thoughts in your own room and let yourself loose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go have a whack.
Yes, exactly. Let it off.
Yeah.
Be spicy with it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Have that moment where you can kind of go, oh, yes, I can do 10 rounds and I don't have to think about the kids or anything else. I can just breathe. But when you break up, you are then completely agreeing that you are not coming back together. And one of the things that people are blurring the line still of is if we're breaking up, that there's still this connection, that there's still, we've got to still keep in contact with each other. You actually need to be holy moly cold because you have to work on that breakage and storing it from a separation point, because what happens is their sense of hope that keeps flickering, and it's like, are they still thinking of me? Are they still wanting to, and a breakup can't just be one conversation. I hate these things where people go, they've broken up over text or a phone call. It needs to be a comprehensive conversation that is airing out everything. So you need to have I'm going to say a minimum of 3 weeks to 4 weeks of deep conversations to clear everything. What's your next steps of, once this breakup's done, these are all finalized. If there's things, you've got kids, if there's household things, if there's situations, you need to have deep conversations, because otherwise you've broken up and then you keep coming back to conversations and it's just stirring your head, and she still thinks in her mind that the connection's still there, but you're technically not breaking up. That then she's going to her friends and they're all giving insights and they're planting seeds in her head about what it looks like. And then he's just trying to focus on his own, but then he's like, wait, I need to talk to someone. I don't know who to converse with. And this is so much to sort of open up about. And then he's spiraling in his own head going, okay, I don't know what to do. So you still need to support each other as best you can. Now, I know that there is context to every part that I'm saying right now. So every situation would be there's something that terrible has happened and they need to do an emergency breakup and they need to do straight away, cold, like we're out, we're done. And I understand that there's a high severity. But when we can help heal the heart along the way, and there's so many unknown conversations where if it's just a matter of it's just not working, then you have to have those deep conversations so that you can both heal together on your own a lot more better than this unknown limbo land of what conversations were meant to be. What about this? What about that? Was it this? Was it me? And the more that you're transparent about it, it's a lot, and it's a big emotional drainage. And I know that people don't want that. They just want to kind of go, to the next thing. But your heartbreak's going to be so much longer and worse. And especially for men, that isolation is going to really intensify and they're going to feel so much more alone. And that's where the mental health side of things really kicking in even more, because they don't know how to outlet and to talk and to sort of have these conversations about what's going on. And then when they do, they then spiral about whether or not it was okay to talk about or whether or not they should be saying this. And then they're constantly questioning themselves and they're trying to get back to the reality of like, it's okay, maybe I'll just jump back in the relationship and it should be all fine. So then it's constantly these shoulds. So we want to establish that there's definitely the two parts of we are just rediscovering ourselves, and own it to your friends. They don't need to have a bar of a comment of trying to tell how your relationship is. They don't know the pillow talks. They don't know the inside conversations. So just being able to go, we're just rediscovering ourselves and we're just focusing on ourselves in the moment so that we can actually better our relationship for the future. And in that time, though, there could be some moments where some relationships kind of go, I learned a lot about myself and I don't actually think that this is us. So then you go through the other side of it where you have the month conversation. Let's talk about what wasn't working. Why wasn't it working? What do we need to sort of, equal out between the two of us and have it so it actually becomes a better breakup than a terrible breakage that just depletes you. So you are still a team even during a breakup, and it actually helps the both of you. And I know that women will actually really appreciate it, but more so men on a silent way. Men will really appreciate it in a long way of just actually having those deeper conversations about, okay, well, we're now at a mutual agreement. We now know why this hasn't worked and it's hurtful and it's so sad, but we can know that we just want the best for each other and we want us to both be happy and have our own cups filled.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't get there, and that's okay.
It is. Yeah. That's it, eh? That's it. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, I could keep talking to you about so many things. No, I think one of the beautiful things I did want to sort of touch on again was there's so many men out there, and this is kind of going way west from what we just spoke
That's all right.
about.
Oh, man, let's keep talking.
Go for it.
But the way that men have been introduced to how to be intimate and how to have sex with a woman, there's a lot of things where, now I don't have an issue with porn, right? Because I think there's a part of us that just gives us this imagination of what it is. But the element that I don't like about porn, there is definitely some parts that I don't like about it, is that there is a forcefulness and performative way that the way that they are doing it is the outcome of what it should look like. But I can tell you right now, from a woman's perspective, she will be stimulated only in her pelvic area, but eventually over time. But you want her whole body to be stimulated. You do not want it to be just one part of her body. And when you warm her up properly by being slow and intimate and actually connecting, and you will find that your orgasm is actually intensified even more because you love her just letting go and just feeling into the moment. So one of the things that I know even with men when they're whacking off or whatever it is, it's incredibly hard to explain to men the importance of them actually slowing down their stroke and actually knowing that there is power of knowing how to practice it. Because when you have stimulated yourself and thinking that this is the tempo, yes, at the end when you're both stimulated and you're both okay, go to town. You both will be fully ready to receive. But a lot of people have gone, this is the intensity that I need to do. But then this is where erection dysfunction comes into play, performance anxiety comes into play, and it's only a pattern that you're training your body. You're like, this is exactly how I want to receive pleasure. Where a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to slow down, it's boring. Yeah, guess what? You've trained your body. You've trained your body to be that way, and your woman, she's not going to like it. Where if she met someone that actually slowed down and enjoyed the process, she's going to be a lot more attracted to that.
Yeah,
And she's going to...
and 2 minutes in heaven's better than 1 minute in heaven.
Yes, exactly.
For a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So, because what we actually want is we want her vagina and vulva to actually be engorged. We want it to be sort of ready to receive. And we want both internal and external stimulation as well. We don't want it to be that it's just penis and vagina and that's it. We actually want all of it to be a part of, that pleasurable experience. But we also want to know that our erogenous zones, which is all of our body, to feel like it's okay to invite and to play into it, different temperatures, different experiences. But it's amazing when women feel so much more drawn to you and be like, oh my God, you're the only man that I want to do this with because you really get me and you know my body. When you give that woman that experience, she ain't looking anywhere else. She is like, oh my God, you just get my body. You just make me feel 10 times more invigorated. And that will get her to feel more turned on to want to connect with you. She'll feel like, oh my God, you get me. You know my body. That's so sexy. It's so empowering. Where if we're just trying to go, because women are very sneaky, they will just go with the flow and go, oh, it's only because he wants to do it and it's out. You know, he has to release and okay, I'll just play this like noise with my mouth and I'll just pretend that it's all good and just wait for him to finish. That's fucking shit. Woman should not be able to let her body just be mistreated like that.
Nah.
And that's the part where we have to start a little bit from slow at the beginning, but you will actually enjoy it more. And it's insane when we just train our bodies that it's okay to breathe through it. Like breath is so important through our bodies when we can breathe properly. And then if we can naturally make noises, noise is very encouraged. And I understand that there's kids, but breathing then is then your focus. If you can breathe through your body and send the breath down when you are in a relaxed state, your body is more open to receptivity. So if you're actually seeing your partner's breath and it starts to increase and you see the body movement, that's her sign that she's starting to really feel turned on. Where sometimes people go, oh, I don't know if I can read her body. You need to read her body. Her body is going to tell you exactly what's happening, what's working, what's not. And her breath. If her breath starts to increase, you're hitting the right spot. And it's not about changing it. It's about staying the same spot and consistency. And if you move, nope, you've lost her. So you have to warm up again and kind of get back to that part. So if she's breathing a little bit more faster and she's moving her body in a delicious way, you're in the right spot.
That's it. We know the secrets. We know if you're lying.
You better be getting you better be getting hand cramp before you start.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What about like I said, what about for how did let me just try to think how I'm going to word this.
I know the brains are spiraling as I was
It
just
is,
talking about everything.
it is. What's some advice to some women that? Oh no, I'm not going to go there. No. Have you
Okay.
got? No.
What's up?
That
Go there.
Go there.
I'm going to put this out
Go
really
there.
bluntly.
Go on.
That's what I'm here for.
Don't put out, right?
Mm.
But it's obviously important for a man to feel that connection because it's not just about the act like we're talking about. How can we encourage the partner to get on board again, to want to have sex, to again,
To show the initiative.
yeah, because like I said, it's important to men in marriage.
Yeah.
To otherwise, that's when the wandering eye and the resentment. So I don't know if we really touched on this earlier, but is there certain tips that, like you said, you can get these women to start getting into their own body, getting in tune with their own body, and wanting to? What's some advice that we can offer? Because there's a lot just
For me,
I hear it a lot.
For me personally, like just before you come in with your all the professionalism, I've always kind of lived by this ethos of like, it doesn't matter where you get your appetite as long as you eat at home, and that swings both ways. Like it's only natural for a man to look at other women, and it's only natural for women to look at other men. And so it doesn't, just because you're looking, it doesn't mean that you're jumping ship. You know what I mean? Like attractiveness is attractiveness. You can't,
Yeah, but then people eat out.
But
Do
then
you know
it
what I mean?
can lead to eating out.
They get takeaway.
Takeaway, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
No.
so, but yeah, I guess for me that's just yeah.
Like I said, because there's a lot of men that I talk to that I'm open with about my sex life, and they're open up about theirs, and it's a common thing that I hear a lot, even with guys that I work with or people at the other factories, because I get quite close with everyone.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a a common thing, and I like was like, oh, because at work they all know me as Richard. I goes, oh, Rich, when are you going to talk about this? And I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought, well, now's the perfect opportunity. And like I said, I didn't mean for it to come across so blunt or rude or anything like that. I just couldn't articulate such a professional way to get it out there.
Oh, you can be as blunt and
So, and look, no woman should feel like they should have to put out either or have sex just to have sex with, like, to keep someone happy. But that's just how I had to get it, how I had to verbalize it.
No, like I said, I'm all for it.
Because a lot of the things is that the women, the partners want to, but they've lost that drive, So I don't know if there's anything that you could discuss or shed some insight for the men to understand as well.
Yeah,
They need to understand that maybe it's just not happening at the moment. It goes both ways.
I love this because, as we said, context is so important, but every relationship has a unique way where some women really like the men to obviously, initiate, and that's their sense of drive. But there is also some men that also like a little bit of an equalizer around the woman being like, I just want you to tell me when you feel turned on and when you feel ready. And sometimes we focus on, it has to be, communication. But do you find, before I go into all my advice, do you find that sometimes there's a feeling that you can feel your partner that she is feeling turned on, or do you feel like, I don't know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know. Well, I'll tell you in a few weeks. Now I know all the secrets. But yeah.
Yeah. So when we can feel our partner and they're feeling good about themselves, this is the part where you can take charge and obviously, know that she's actually in this receptivity. When we're in this unknown land of like whether she is or isn't, it's then opening up the conversation. You have to start with, okay, I would love us to connect more on an intimate level. Now you have to say intimate, not I want us to have sex more. Sex is just a pressure point. I want us to be more intimate. What do you find that turns you on with what I do? And see what she says. What's something that makes her feel turned on that you do? And this is when your fixer comes into mind. Okay, so if I do those things, that makes her feel turned on.
Yeah, send me photos of you cleaning. Yeah.
Broom in hand.
Oh, yeah. Wiping down the bench.
But I also am going to take it to another lens. Now, this is my own personal opinion around this. And I know that there are going to be some people that don't agree. And that's fine. Because everyone is to themselves. There are women out there that are very much in that softer feminine where they would rather the man take lead, and they just kind of like, I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to be that responsive person that just allows it all to come to me. Where I don't mind telling the man going, I'm fucking turned on right now and I'm ready to go. There's something sexy about it, and there's something so desirable that it's okay to actually own that you're feeling turned on and stimulated. And I think there's a little bit of, uncertainty around women going, well, I don't know if that actually is attractive, or I don't know whether or not I should be doing that or saying it. But there's a lot of women that don't actually feel turned on about themselves. And this is why a lot of the work that I do for women is I help them feel turned on about themselves, because a lot of the time we focus so much on, controlling men with their sexual energy and then trying to help women with their emotions. We need to get women, feeling sexually confident, and they can still have a softness about themselves. They don't have to be all like forcefulness and masculine and be like, let's fucking go rude. But we can actually feel this sexiness about it and, tell our man that we do it. Like, I know one thing that I get so turned on by, and it's not even a pleasurable thing, but it's having a cup of tea and really slowly drinking it. And when I am just holding it, feeling the warmth and just into my body, I can feel so turned on.
Well, that's it. I'm going to learn how to make the best cup of tea ever.
But this is the thing. There's these techniques that I help women with, which is like, for example, sensual eating. When you are eating food and you're tasting all the flavors and the textures, you actually feel this sense of letting go in your mind, because so many women are in their mind, and just being into their bodies. And you'll find that they get this bit of like, oh my God, I just kind of felt turned on with a strawberry. I'm like, hell yeah, you did. You just activated your body and your system. So there's parts that I can help women, you know, for the women that are willing to be open to it, and it has to be a woman that is willing to open to do that. But I would do it so you ask the question, what do I do that turns you on and makes you feel good? It's not about happy, or it's not about what I do that you love me. You know, it's what do I do that actually turns you on? And, you know, allowing her to be open to that conversation. And that can be at any point, and it doesn't have to lead to sex, with a conversation around that as well. It can just be, I'm just curious and I really would love to know. There's no pressure about this, no outcome out of this. So I'm curious and I want to know. And then that's when you've planted the seed to then step into it. But then that doesn't mean that's the only thing you do for the rest of your life. There are moments where you have to ask again and just check in with where she's at and just see, because she'll appreciate that you're actually talking to her and asking these intentional questions. The more that you open up to her about this, and it's different and it's, you know, unique to you, and you might think it's shameful, but to her, she's loving that you actually are asking these unique questions. So these should just be part of your conversations.
And this isn't from like a what I do sexually that turns you on. It's more like, you know, like you said, around the house, cleaning or mowing the lawn, or you know, like
a good morning message, a voice note that just lets me know that you're thinking of me. You know, all these little things that actually make you feel like, yeah, man, that actually turns me on.
Okay.
Yeah, or another one that might turn your wife on is initiative.
Yeah, but you know what? Not everyone has it, mate. Not everyone. Mate, there's times where I've got where I say, just tell me. Just tell me. I know that's not sexy, but or maybe just tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Tell me how to do it. Tell me how to clean properly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. I think that sometimes it's okay, and I'm more than happy for, and honestly, I have had so many men that reach out to me, Katelin, how do I actually open up this conversation with a woman so I don't say the wrong thing? Because I know that there's so many men that go, I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I help them just tweak it. So it's not my words, but I give them ideas of how to actually open up the conversation. And it's okay. Take those gold nuggets from me. It's fine. I'm not going to copyright them, but it's for you to be, you're learning and you're just open to it. And that's what I love is the men that have come through, they're just open and willing to go, okay, something's not working. Clearly what I'm saying or doing is just the same stagnant stuff. What I need to do to shake it up. And it doesn't have to be an overwhelming amount of things for your plate. I know that there's already so much going on in your lives. It's just about me hearing you out, what's going on in your relationship, and then actually going, okay, let's just plant this in. Let's just try this and see how that works. Let's evaluate. Let's have a conversation about it. What's worked, what hasn't. And then there's so many times where men have been like, oh, we're having so much more intimate conversations now. We're, you know, enjoying our time more. It is the quickest, simplest switch that we just need to be open to the experience, because it just helps you so much more when someone from the outside just looks in, because sometimes we're so consumed in our own ways and our own patterns in a relationship.
And even if you're trying haphazardly, at least you're still trying.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. No. Awesome. Oh, well, I've enjoyed your chat today. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
It's been so awesome having you here. I think there's a lot of really good information in there that a lot of people hopefully take away from that. And no, it's really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll have to, maybe we can come take our travelling mics, come down to you, do a part 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and there'll be lots of questions, and I want everyone to know that they can always reach out to you guys then, or to myself.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
we'll put all your deets in our
stuff
as well. So.
And I'm always going to be someone that, you know, does a voice note or, you know, has a conversation. That it doesn't matter what the outcome is.
Yeah.
Just know that I'm open to have the conversation, and there's no topic off limit as well.
Yeah.
No, brilliant.
No, that's good. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Awesome.
You're gonna get that happy snap, Dean, or you're gonna do it on the. Yeah, grab an actual photo. We always ask for the thumbnail. Oh man.